On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we try to finish this car because we are really short on time. We got like 8 days left. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today we're just gonna jump right in and get after it. But first, I say we're gonna jump right in and get after it, but I should probably show you our notebook here of stuff. If you follow me on Instagram, Instagram.com/WatchChairGo or @WatchChairGo, you would have already known I posted this over there. But this is today's to-do list. It's pretty long. Tighten motor mounts, install tank, vent hoses, install dipstick, fill the rest of the fluids, clamp power steering feed line, which we already, I think we went ahead and did that. Install AN6 adapters for fuel filter, install fuel, something on filter, finish wiring car. That's a pretty big one. I spent all last night on it, it's still not done. Install brake hoses, torque wheels, install center caps, wash car, install floor mats. We don't really have the floor mats, they're not done yet because we're gonna have new ones made off of the old ones as a pattern. Wire brake switch for lights, it's done. Hook up vacuum line to Holly, wire brake switch to Holly, hook up trans connector, tighten brake lines, bleed brakes, a fixed brake pedal to rod, loom under hood wires, that's mostly done. Solder radiator cap, we got a little issue that needs fixed. We have some special aluminum solder just for that. It's something we did, no big deal. Battery hold down, install fuel line to rail, hook up brake booster line. So that's today's to-do list. It's pretty long, and let's just jump in and get after it. Oh, we're going in. Okay, so of course I ordered a bunch of fittings for the fuel rail, and I got the wrong one. That's my 5/16 one. Super nice. I love the fitting, and it's uses the factory quick disconnect tool and everything. But you know what? The correct size one is not here. So ICT Billet saves the day again. I will put a link in the description below to this fitting because it is awesome. It's the AN80902B 6AN to 3/8 quick disconnect. And this is actually kind of a fancy one. Kind of like what they did here. Basically, you unscrew this, and then you put this part on, and then you slide this over the quick disconnect like this. Just like so. And then you screw it on, and it locks it into the quick disconnect. So it's kind of toolless. How nice is that? You don't actually have to have a quick disconnect tool. I'm a fan. So now we just need an AN90 to pick up our hose, and she's done. Well, not the whole car, but the fuel system. Look at that, fuel line, all done. ICT Billet quick disconnect, and one of their 90s, AN90s in there with our Earls Pro line. That's all done. And I finally brought heat shrink from home. Alternators hooked up. I don't even know if that was on the list, but I got it done. The other end is already heat shrinked, and I just need to hook it up to the starter. I do need to run the key-on wire for the alternator, part of finish wiring car. So we are going to crimp our 4-gauge terminal here onto our 4-gauge wire that we're gonna use to link between our new Mechman alternator and the starter. So to do that, I've got a terminal right here, and somewhere over here, I stripped a piece of wire. It's right here. Put our terminal in there, just like that. And these are the hydraulic crimpers. And we're starting with a 2. Tighten this down a little bit so it'll hold it. There we go. Throw our wire in here. And let's get a nice, awesome crimp. Oh man. So much of my power is derived from my abs. This is actually hard work. And once we're done with this 2-gauge die, I'm gonna switch to the 4-gauge. I wanted to kind of compress it, so we started too big, and then we'll change over to a 4 and crush it just a little bit more. Man, this is the way to do it. Hydraulics are key. Cool. Well, that should be permanent. I'm gonna put some heat shrink on there, make sure it can't come off. That should fit starter side too, I hope. I didn't actually check the terminal or anything, I just said it. And Eric was just here with me, and he hooked up the fuel filter, except for this one. We're missing one straight AN fitting. That's the last fitting, finally. I don't know how many times I've said this is the last fitting, but first of all, it's absolutely wild building a car from scratch. None of this is like prefabricated. We literally like built everything, and it's ridiculous. So I'm pretty excited to see this thing finally crank over. And also the amount of money it's taken has been mind-blowing. Everyone's asking, and I don't know. It just had to be built. Like, we didn't have any excuses. So I just closed my eyes and spent the money. We don't know what it cost. Well, I'll figure it out when we're done. We found the factory starter relay in the glove box, and I think Everything's hooked up. I just wired up. We had to go buy a $33 connector. This is the factory AC Delco connector for the CTS-V starter. It's a PT2905. It's actually pretty rare. It's like a weather pack connector, but with two like flat sides. So I hooked that up to the starter, extended the wire with my wire extendo just a little bit. Let's see if anything bad happens. I'm gonna hook the battery up real quick. Okay, here we go. All right. No persistent crank or anything. Okay, ECU is not powered or anything like that. We're gonna go ahead and give it the first test of just seeing if the starter works. We have a larger problem. There's no power. Chassis power. All right, let me go hook that up. Once we have chassis power, we'll see if the thing cranks.
A few moments later.
That's a good sign. Now we've got the light. Let's see what happens. Okay. Uh-oh.
A few minutes later.
Figured out the no start. We stuck the meter under there, Elliot turned the key, and I checked from the terminal to the starter, and I got nothing. And then I had him turn the key again, and I checked from the terminal to the radiator, and I had 12 volts. There was 0 ground to the engines. So, let's try it. All right, here we go. Just one little bump.
Nothing.
Ah! Man, I give up.
15 minutes later.
I took a piece of wire and I shorted that from the battery terminal over to the solenoid, and all we got was a little bit of welding.
Colby.
Nice. So after the welding, we were like, that starter must be trash, or at least the solenoid. So I just put another starter in that we had laying around. Luckily, it's the one actually from the CTS-V. We kind of had it confused because we have 3 starters in here. But here we go. Give it the bump. Let's see what happens. Yep.
Testing.
Oh! That is good news. All right, now we just need a fuel management.
You like crank on it for a moment?
Do you want to?
Well, you hurt.
All right.
All right.
Sounds healthy.
Yeah. Now it needs fuel and a little power for the fuel management.
Easy peasy.
Don't even worry about all that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for handing me a whole bunch of tools, Elliot.
It's my job.
And now, look at this. We had to pull the nitrous bottle back out to get it done, but the tank's in, and I did a quick test. We've got the wires sitting up front, so I gave it a little bit of 12 volts, and it runs. So, I'm super, super pumped about that. I just have to tighten down the clamps, put the rest of the vent cables on there, vent tubes, cables. Use the old vent cable, put the nitrous bottle back, and put the trunk back together. It's done. The wall can go in. I guess I could go ahead and put in the big metal holder, but yeah, so progress. Josh was under the car, e-brakes hooked up. Of course, you guys already saw most of the front end of the fuel's hooked up. It cranks now. We've got start from the starter solenoid. All that's left tonight, I've got clamps. We're gonna put the coolant hoses on and finish filling everything. First, we're gonna take that middle of the night trip to ICT billet to get that last AN fitting. It's going to be 11:30 when we get there, right? 11:15. It'll be 11:30 when we get over there, and they're gonna get us in there and give us the last fitting. So once again, huge shout out to ICT Billet for making everything happen like that, and that, and that, and that, and this, and that, and like the amount of ICT Billet stuff is incredible. And of course today's fittings, and then the rest of today's fittings. But without them, we would not have been able to do this.
And for fitting us in at this hour.
Okay. It's a new day. Josh told me I couldn't start this at 2 in the morning with no exhaust at all. Open manifold. So, let's put some fuel in this bad boy. The first time fueling up the new build on the Rolls. Here we go. Got some 91 in here. Probably not enough, honestly. Might need to make a gas station run.
4 gallons, so that's like a 16th of a tank.
16th of a tank, he's exactly right.
It might come off at E.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a fuel gauge. We're not that fancy. It's the one thing we didn't do. All right, fuel. She's still sticking a little bit. Okay. Power. We want power. Ready to turn on the fuel pump? See if this thing leaks like a sieve.
Sounds like it's bubbling.
Yeah, it sounds like a ton of bubbles. Hope we didn't leave something loose. That may not be enough fuel to actually cover the sock or anything.
I see a little leak.
You do?
Yeah. Right on the valve cover.
Maybe these need to be tighter than I
They
expected.
need to be really tight.
They do?
Almost scary tight.
Oh, it's definitely leaking back here on the filter too.
Yeah, they need to be really tight.
Really? All right, fully untested. We know it cranks, and I just hooked up all the power wires, so let's see if we get a screen and an ECU. I saw a bunch of lights. I don't know if that was good or bad. And it looks like we have data. I don't see waiting for data. I'm just kidding. All the lights are on. We got green lights. One red that's probably stall warning or something. Okay, that's good. Disregard my wiring that's not cleaned up. You ready to throw a tune on it?
Yeah.
All right, sure. Do the thing. All right, so we went ahead and upgraded the dash to firmware 5 from like version 4.1, so that's something. There is good news here. We can run 2 screens. I kind of wanted to put this in the glove box so that people could look at statistics all over the place. Perform TPS auto set. Okay, wizard, TPS auto set, start. Slowly press pedal to floor. Oh, now it runs. A second ago, we weren't getting any throttle body run. You did it? Why is it sounded like it? Successful! Also, now we have a gear indicator on the dash. All kinds of good stuff. Should we turn the key?
I don't know why not.
I think it is time for a key turn. I don't hear any fuel pump run. That's kind of...
I think it's really quiet though.
It is quiet.
Inside the car, you can barely hear it.
Okay, first start ever. We're just hoping. Before we turn the key, and there's literally no cut before we turn the key, but we're gonna add one in for the suspense. This is YouTube after all. I have to give a huge shout out to everybody that helped make this possible for us. We could not have done it without them. J&J for supplying the engine, us for supplying the free transmission. Also Dave at Dave's Detail here in Andover, because he found the van for us that had the transmission. Nitrous Outlet, of course. Holly, of course, for all of the Holly builds everything. And they had everything. One of the biggest thank yous to ICT Billet for being available at like 1 in the morning whenever we wanted parts and showing up. Like, we're on our way over to your place. Huge thank you to ICT Billet. They build all of some of the coolest swap stuff, honestly. Like all the mounts, most of the AN fittings, all that stuff came from them. MechMan alternators for that amazing billet alternator. JNC powder coating for the wheels. I think that's most of it. Holly owns almost every brand on the car. Frostbite, the radiators, the B&M transmission cooler, the B&M shifter, all of the fuel management. And that's what an incredible fuel management setup, because it fired on the first try. Yeah, I think that's about everybody. But the biggest shout out to Josh for doing all of this fabrication and like building everything from scratch, like the trans mount and the engine mounts and all that stuff. And ICT Billet for helping with that too. But now, back to the startup. Oh, that's not good, is it? It even shot. Okay, I was scared when the dashes rebooted.
I know.
For some reason, when it started, the dashes were like, reboot? So.
No one's gonna believe that fired on the first hit.
I know, but like you saw, this was live. We finished the tune upload and turned the key.
Wow.
That was insane.
I would say that's a testament to Holly.
Well, huge shout out to J&J.
And change it.
Yeah.
Give it something.
That was, what an incredible engine. First try.
Wow.
Holy.
I thought we were gonna crank on it at least a couple times.
We're gonna make it to Houston.
Good stuff.
I mean, we don't have brakes, but we might not need brakes. We can.
Where we're going, we don't need brakes.
you know what we could do is put a toe strap around the back.
We have an emergency brake.
We do have that.
That's not gonna help.
Doesn't help with burnouts. We could put a strap around the back bumper and do a burnout against the truck.
Just park it on the wall.
Yeah.
Park the front bumper on the wall.
Oh man. Wow, that's awesome. We should start doing fluid fills. Like the trans is only half full. It was all the way up on the dipstick, but now that it's spun, we probably sucked a bunch of fluid in. What else? Oh, diff's empty.
Yeah.
Gotta fill the diff.
Power steering, radiator.
Power steering's pretty full. Yeah. And we should check the oil again.
Man, I cannot believe.
You're gonna do it again?
I kinda want to.
You're like, yeah, this is sweet. Here comes the boot.
It's not even as loud as I thought it would be.
No, it's not loud, yeah.
Could have done that at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we could have, huh?
Door shut.
Okay.
Oh, it doesn't auto crank though.
Oh, no, it does not auto crank. The key is literally triggering a relay on the starter.
I wonder why it reboots every time.
I must have done something wrong. I don't think the dasher should reboot. Wow! That's cool! Woo! Oil pressure? Oil pressure. Oh, fuel pressure just says we have it. That's good. I need to configure the fuel pressure gauge. How's the power steering feel?
It's a little notchy, it's getting better.
Good deal. Dude, it was like fire, fire, fire. That was awesome. Straight up orange fire. It was so rich.
Heard some pop pops.
Yes. Oh, that's great. All right, well, she probably wants coolant.
We baked the Cerakote, so we can check that box.
Yeah, the Cerakote is cooked. Also, one reason the dash might be rebooting is because I just clamped it all together temporarily until I could do my main power junction there. We can't forget Motul, the amazing fluid provider, to make sure all of our stuff is running in tip-top shape. Also, we sucked in like a quart of power steering fluid. I sure can. Rick, time for our transmission fill here. Dumping another bottle in. It definitely sucked up every bit of the fluid that was in there before. It's not even on the dipstick now. 2 a.m., I'm clocking out. As you guys saw, the car ran today. Almost everything is finished up. We spent the rest of the day, we bled the front brakes until we had a solid pedal on the front, and that's finally working really well. We got a little bit left to figure out on the rear. I filled the diff a minute ago. Upper radiator hose is on. I need to do the lower still. I gotta do a little cleaning and stuff. I need to stake some brake cleaner, clean up the outlet there, and then I can put that hose on. I've been working on these relays for the last few hours and kind of trying to get everything cleaned up. It's not as pretty as I'd like, honestly. I'm gonna put this fuse block in here, so I've got at least a little bit of circuit protection. But once we come back and we have some time, I'm gonna order like a nice PDU or at least a real fuse panel with built-in relays and get rid of all this junk. After I started adding all these relays, I just realized that I hate the way it looks. It's so ugly. But I still loomed all the wires and I tried to make everything look as good as I could, and all of this will disappear here in a minute. These are the triggers for the nitrous solenoids and the triggers for the fans, and that's fan power, and that's main power to the other relay bank, and that's main power to ECU, and that's main power to, I don't even remember at this point. I also need to drag the transcooler line up here and land it. And you know what? It needs a relay because it needs switched power too. How many more relays can I get in this thing? So I gotta stop at some point. I've got minimal things to finish up here. We're planning on driving it tomorrow. I sure hope we do. Getting really, really, really close. A couple transmission wires need hooked up. This is ignition switched and it had to have its own relay. And this is the brake switch because it needs to know if the brakes are applied to go in and out of torque converter lockup. And it's really close. I'm very happy about where we're at. Tired though, can't wait to go get some sleep at this point. And I mean, the engine probably started 3 more times today because people kept coming over, so we'd start it real quick and let them hear it open header run for a couple seconds, which was pretty cool. And it sounds amazing open header. I almost want to leave it, but we'll at least do turn downs or something and run a little bit of exhaust to the back. It'll work out. But either way the car runs, we expect the transmission works. We'll find out for sure tomorrow. We'll do some final fluid fills, check the transmission again, power steering's good, check the oil again on the engine. Everything seems like it's good. We've got all the pressures. They look great on the dash. The dash is mostly done. I've probably spent an hour tweaking gauges and moving things around. I guess you guys can see that one more time. We'll make a little bit of noise with the door open, but Here you go. Listen to the terrible door beep real quick. Shut that off for you. There you go. So I've got a little bit more to do. You can see coolant temp sensor and a few things. I gotta move some of the text around, stuff like that. And I still need to change the background to my updated one that I've got at home with better matching wood. I'm pretty excited about that. So we're almost there. Finishing touches tomorrow. And on Monday, it goes off to exhaust. And we don't know when we're gonna get it back. We hope we get it back Tuesday night. And that'll let us do a little bit more testing before this thing goes out, because it needs to be on a trailer by Thursday so we can leave early Friday morning, or 5, 6 in the morning. And we'll just go from there. So still winging it, but we're really close. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching Project Roll Smoke. Thank you for watching the channel. We couldn't do a lot of this without your support. Don't forget to head on over to shopwatchjrgo.com where you can get cool shirts, unlike this one, but the other Watch JRGO shirts, they're all there, and the Roll Smoke shirt, I have all the proofs of the shirts, and I honestly just don't like the one we have right now. So I'm working on it still, probably change some things, see if we can get back to you guys with a final. I even have an actual shirt here, one of the designs, and I still don't think I like it. So what we released to you has to be amazing. I want something that you'd want to wear. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time.